libuni technology libe kuri erumai ko haru fatuga tibe hus bagata magutum ufala libe huwa fenta fuga vecce libe fa
Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रहा Bebe, मी क्या हो रहा
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂಗ್ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರುಮ್ಮಿ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ದುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
किया बला किया ने काळू काळू कुरु कुरु काळू काळू किरुळु कुकुळु फास्ट को किया करकुर काळू किरुळु नो 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 काळू कुरु काळू किरुळु कुकुळु
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
काळू कुरु काळू किरुळु कुकुळु
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು ಎದುವಸ್ ಮಿಯಂಗ್ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನು ಗಾವೆ ಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮೀಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟೊಕು ಫುರ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ಬೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶ ಎ ಸಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕಿ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Purusanta libuni technology libe kuri erumai ko haru fatuga tibe hus bagata magutum ufala libe huwa fenta fuga vecce libe fa
Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रहा Bebe, मी क्या हो रहा
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ
5G ජස්සාලා ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರೀದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರುಂ ಮೀ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರೀದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಕಿಯಾ ಬಲ ಕಿಯಾನೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರೀದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರೀದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರೀದು ಎದುವಸ್ ಮಿಯಂ ಐ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನು ಗಾವೆ ಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮೀಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗಾ ಎ ಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗಾ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗಾ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
ಸ್ನೆಪ್ ಕುರೆ ಎಸಕ ಮೀಮ್ ತಕ ಎ ಫುರಿ ಫೀಡುಗ ಎ ಟೆಕು ಟೊಕು ಫುರ ಎ ಫಿಟು ಚೆಕು ತಕ ವೆ ಓಜಿ ಫಶ ಎ ಸಳಿ ಟ್ರೆಂಡಕ ಎ ಕೀ ಬಜಿದುವಾ
Puro libuni technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hos baguta wagutum ufala libe huwa fenta fuga vecce libe fa
Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe Jasalima fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
ಬೇಬೆ ಬೇಬೆ ಕ್ಯಾ ಹೊರಗ ಬೇಬೆ ಮೀ ಕ್ಯಾ ಹೊರಗತ್ತ
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರೀದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರೀದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರುಂ ಮೀ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರೀದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಕಿಯಾ ಬಲ ಕಿಯಾನೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಏದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಅಕ ಉರೀದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು ಎದುವಸ್ ಮಿಯಂಗ್ ಐ ಲಿವೆ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನು ಗಾವೆ ಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e teku toku fura e fitu cheku taka be OG fasha e sali trendaka e ki bajiduwa
Puro santa liberne technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hos baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fenta fuga vecce libe fa
Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೋಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರು ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರುಮ್ಮಿ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ಲುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
ಕಿಯಾ ಬಲ ಕಿಯಾನೆ ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೊಕ್ಕಿಯಾಲ ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ನೋ 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 ಕಾಳು ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳಿ ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್
ಕರ್ಕುರು ಕಾಳು ಕಿರುಳು ಕುಗಳು
ಫಾಸ್ಟೇದೋ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಹಲವು ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ಗೆ ಇಂಟರ್ನೆಟ್ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ ಅನ್ಲಿಮಿಟೆಡ್ ಸೂಪರ್ ನೆಟ್ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಇತುರು ಹರಫತಕ ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಸಳಿ ಗೇಮಿಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಉರಿದು ಎದುವಸ್ ಮಿಯಂಗ್ ಐ ಲಿವೆ ಲಿವೆ
ಫೋನು ಗಾವೆ ಮುಳಿ ಹಯಾತಾನ ಟುಂಗುಳಿಲನೀತ ಕುಮ್ಮಿಸಕಿ ಮೇಜುಗ ಎಫಶಿ ಗೇಮುಗ ಕುಳುನು ಸ್ಪೀಡುಗ ಎ ಪಬ್ಜಿ ಗಣ
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e teku toku fura e fitu cheku taka be OG fasha e sali trendaka e ki bajiduwa
Puro santa liberne technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hos baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fenta fuga vecce libe fa
Just Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live Just Salima fighti live
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್.
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂಬೇಣು ಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂಗ್ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣು ಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಮಡುಕುರು ಮೀ ವರ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಸತೇಕ ಗುಣ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ತಜುರ್ಬಾ ಕೊಲ್ದುಮ ಉರಿದೂಗೆ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the grand finale of Ooredoo Nation MLBB Maldives Championship 2025. And this is the moment we all have been waiting for. And this is going to be the match between the Sleeping Forest and Team Vigani. And in the casting deck, I'm here with you, Asteria, and with me is Gambit. So, Gambit, are you excited?
And indeed, Asteria, both these teams have paved their way to the finals, proving their point and establishing their dominance throughout this series. And right now, it is the final hurdle. One of those teams will gain greatness, and the other will come up short. We'll have to wait and see this anticlimactic clash. As we dive into the ban phase, we do see that from the side of Team Sleeping Forest, we already see very strong bans up front. They have gone for banning that Lucas. They've also banned out that Javier. But following with that, they have gone for the Phobias ban. But in return, we do see that the Badang, Sicilian, and Joy getting banned from the side of Team Vigani, which does mean that both the Zushin and that Hayabusa were left for grabs. And both those heroes were taken by these teams.
Exactly, and wasting no time, Sleeping Forest went in with that Suyu, and we can see, along with the Hayabusa, they have that Ruby on the side. So we can already understand that this is going to be a very exciting match. And from the side of Sleeping Forest, they have chose that Gatot Kacha. So if we look at their lineup, they have the damage dealing Zushin, they have that Suyu, they have that Gatot Kacha as their vanguard. So this is quite a devastating lineup for me already. And on the other hand, from the side of Team Vigani, they are just looking out for a roamer, I believe, and they are hovering onto that Minotaur. And if we talk about Minotaur, the amount of support he provides and also the tankiness he has, along with that Minion Rage, is gonna be something you wouldn't want to face because they have the Hayabusa on their team already. And if we talk about the Ruby spell vamp, that is gonna be devastating for them. But we are seeing that they have went in for that Carmilla. Oh my goodness.
And indeed, Team Vigani does not disappoint me, at least. They did go for that Carmilla pick, and this is going to be very interesting, Asteria, because they've already got that damage output from that Hayabusa as well, the I Am Offended from the Ruby. So this is a very strong response to those picks of Suyo and Zushin from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. So right now, it's looking pretty neck and neck, but we'll have to wait and see what bans these teams do for their next phase. But if you talk about the team fight composition, I will be backing the side of Team Sleeping Forest up until now, just because of that Zushin and the way that she can disrupt those gameplays from an entire sequence. She can get out those single picks as well as contribute in those team fights. So it is going to be very essential for the side of Team Sleeping Forest that if they are able to utilize the skills of Zushin properly in this match.
Exactly, because if she is able to do so, she would be dealing a lot of damage and for the ban of that Granger.
And indeed, we do see that the Granger was banned from the side of Team Vigani, as well as that Matilda. But Sleeping Forest also wasted no time. They immediately banned out that Harriet, and they did go for that Faramis ban. So this is quite interesting because we did see that Faramis was one of those surprise picks yesterday in the tournament. So perhaps no room for surprises in this stage right now from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. But then again, we'll have to wait and see that what are the final picks from both these teams because they have already established a very strong composition just from those first three picks. So they will be wanting to finish it off, putting the cherry on top of these compositions. And right now, Team Vigani are hovering over that marksman lane, perhaps going to go for a damage output, and they do select Irithel in this case. So it's not a very bad pick, in my opinion. Irithel is very mobile and does have that high damage output given as the game progresses. But then again, moving over to Sleeping Forest, we see that they are now hovering over that Hylos, which is still open up until now. And we do know that how dangerous the initiation factor Hylos can bring out for his team. And there is also that Martyrs that is being hovered over. So Sleeping Forest are perhaps deciding over which one they should go for, Asteria. What do you think about this?
I think that they should go in for that Hylas because since they have already hovered on to that, Team Vigani might just do something to defend that thing. But I believe that they are confused about it. And yes, finally they have locked on to that Hylos along with that Roger. So Roger will be going in the goal lane area, and I believe it's gonna be Hylos who would be roaming and Gatot Kacha in the EXP lane. So with that magic build of that Gatot Kacha, there would be a huge amount of damage coming out from this lineup, and also there would be this glorious path spamming from the team. So if we talk about it, I believe that Team Sleeping Forest is still in the upper hand, but we cannot actually predict something yet because Team Vigani have also that amount of damage in their team. And as you were talking about Irithel's damage as well as her mobility, they do have that sprint with her. So yeah, it shows that they are not actually lagging behind in any case.
And indeed, Asteria, we do see that Novaria was the last pick from the side of Team Begani. So this is going to be pretty interesting because they do have those heroes that can get up close and personal, but as well, they have given them that room, that area of control from those ranged heroes as well. So it is going to be tricky for the side of Team Sleeping Forest because although they have that Garut Kacha and they do have the stankiness in their composition, they will be forced to go for those initiations from the side of Team Vigani. So it's going to come down to which team gets the better trade-off, the better exchanges at the early phase of the game, in my opinion, because the early phase is going to determine which team is going to take the driving foot in this game.
Exactly, and along with that, Novaria's Astral Eco, that might just end up better for them in the team fights. So I believe that Team Vigani has to be very, very aggressive from the very beginning, and already we can see that there might be poking from that Zushin around that blue buff area of that Hayabusa, but he was able to take that jungle down because we could see that Carmilla was there to back him off, and in the meanwhile, if you look at the top lane area, we can see that Gatot Kacha is actually roaming, and with him there is Roger who tried to put up a bit of pressure onto that Irithel who is solo for now, and Carmilla is just helping the jungler out there. So I believe that both the teams have something in their sleeves, and we can see in the mid lane area that Zushin is already providing that much of damage just in 1 minute of the game, and there might be a kill secure from the side of Sleeping Forest, but somehow Novaria is still holding up and she was able to escape the narrow situation.
And indeed, somehow that Novaria did manage to get away with it, and so did Zushin, because we did see that Hayabusa was lurking nearby, but unable to get that kill up from the side of Team Vigani. But both these teams are showing that aggression, as I was talking about, from the early standoffs in this game. We'll have to keep a close eye on that Novaria, because she will be trying to get those long range ballistics in as soon as she can, starting to build up the damage. But at the same time, don't forget the capacity that Hayabusa has. He can come in, get the kill, and get away in a matter of a moment, just in the blink of an eye, and he's going to try to do just exactly that. But we'll have to keep a close eye on the Etsuyo, because they don't want to get picked off just in the nick of time, because the objective is right now spawning in the bottom area of the river, and both these teams are looking a bit aggressive, but they don't want to make any silly mistakes to get away with this objective.
Exactly, and we can already see that they have cornered out that Carmilla, and there is no chance she would be able to escape it. And Zushin was able to secure the kill of that Carmilla over there. On the other hand, if you look at Kenson, he was able to take the turtle without any type of competition over there, because from the side of Team Vigani, they saw that there was a corner situation for them, so they did not actually do that. They did not take that risk, and
And indeed, SLFO did say that no, Nanu 2-0, you are not going anywhere. And Carmilla was the first casualty of this match. Suyo also getting that kill. So it's just going to give him some more breathing space and perhaps even enhance his rotations as well as the jungler. But we do see that right now, Team Sleeping Forest are trying to play an aggressive gameplay. They have those heroes in their arsenal. So they'll try to do as much as they can. Roger perhaps has to be a bit more aware of that map, keep an eye on whether the opponent mage and the roamer are in proximity or not. But right now we do see that there is an initiation in the mid lane. 3 heroes are there. The curse of blood comes out from that Carmilla, and 2 kills from the side of Team Vigani, and they are really pushing the pump here. But Hayabusa gets taken down as well, and Carmilla might just escape, but may fall victim as well to Hylos. And this is a very interesting fight that goes for 2 all for each side. And right now that Novaria somehow yet again manages to escape from the fray. But Ruby was trying to come in for the team fight, trying to help out his team, but was not able to do anything. And Team Sleeping Forest, they are really putting the pressure on Team Vigani at this moment. We'll have to wait and see that if Hayabusa can secure this blue buff. He has been under the pump from the very early stages of this map due to that Zushin, due to that Suyo moving so independently. Perhaps Carmilla not being as effective as they perhaps wanted to be in the early game, but they will need to take their time, because we do know that how influential these heroes can become at the latter end of this game because of that high damage potential they possess. And Erithel almost getting taken down on the top hand side as well. So action all over the map, Asteria. And this is going to be very interesting to see, because both these teams have a reputation to be aggressive.
exactly, and in the bottom lane, we can see that Suyu and Hylos are trying to corner out that Ruby. And if we look at that Hylos, he is not giving Ruby any chance of escaping or any openings for any team fight. So he is doing an amazing job keeping that Ruby distracted. And on the other hand, taking the advantage of that, Kinsey was able to secure yet another turtle for his team. And if we look at the top lane area, Roger was trying to put a pressure onto that Irithel, but little does he know that there are 4 players lurking around the bushes just to get a hold of him. And I believe he does have some sort of idea about that, and that's why he is not getting out of his turret. He's just clearing out the minions, keeping a safe distance from all the players, from every possible situation that might be in negative side for him. And on the other hand, we can say that Gacha is trying to rotate towards the top lane area where he knows that Hayabusa is there to take that Roger down. And things are looking quiet, passive for now, but there is still a chance of a fight breaking out in any moment. Glorious fast being used by that Hylos over there. Another fight has broken down around that orange buff area of Team Vigani, and in the meanwhile, Carmilla was being taken down by the Hylos over there. So there was no chance for her to escape the situation, and along with that, Ruby is taken down as well. So this Zushin and this Hylos are going menace against Team Vigani.
And indeed, Asteria, we did see that Hayabusa somehow managed to escape from that chaotic situation, but only just. But it is proving to be very tough for him, because he's having to face this extreme disruption whenever they're trying to engage. And we did see that the Carmilla did manage to land that the side of Team SLFO, but somehow Team SLFO got the better of that initiation. And right now we do see that even in the orange buff area, they are really making things hard for that Hayabusa, who's getting no independence in his jungle areas. That Zushin is proving to be very painful for the side of Team Vigani right now.
Exactly, and we can see that Hayabusa is trying to take that Zushin down, because which is very necessary at this point. Because if they do not corner out that Zushin right now, they would face a lot of trouble in the later period of the game. And in the meanwhile, we can see in the mid lane area there is a skirmish situation going around, but they wouldn't be committing on any team fight because the turtle is there. And I believe that this is going to be another uncontested turtle for Team Sleeping Forest over there. Even though Novaria tried to steal that turtle from that Suyu, but she wasn't unable to do so because there wasn't any team fight in that side, and Suyu was able to take that turtle down. But in the meanwhile, if you look at the bottom lane area, Ruby was able to take that turret down. Another fight has broken down around the tier 3 of the mid lane area, and let's see if any type of kill is being secured from here, because we can see that rotation is coming from all the areas, and are actually just invested in damage dealing, and Novaria finally takes that Garter caster down. Zushin is being taken down finally, and we can see that are turning to the side of Team Vigani all of a sudden. Woo.
And indeed, a slight blunder from the side of Team Sleeping Forest allows the momentum to shift in favor of Team Vigani. But just as I was talking about that, Midnight secures the kill on that Carmela, nearly manages to get away from that Astro Eagle as well. But as I was talking about that, the initiation that Team SLFO took deep inside that turret area of Team Vigani, it was perhaps a bit unnecessary because they were in a very comfortable position, but giving away a kill or two in this kind of manner might just give the opposing team a bit of an advantage to rally on from that point onwards. So they'll have to be very careful about that because they can take down that turret very easily if they just focus onto that. But right now, we do see that both these teams are actually trying to get those setups in, trying to get those team fights in. Perhaps some are even trying to force out a team fight from their opposing teams as well. So it is quite interesting to see right now. But we'll have to give credit to Hylos because he has been at the center point for Team SLFO in every situation so far. Look at his KDA 304. That speaks a lot for itself. Because right now, Team SLFO are in a very vulnerable position because of this initiation from the side of Team Vigani, and they do end up losing 2 heroes. Team Vigani are on a roll at this moment, taking the fight in that mid lane. Perhaps they might go and look for something else as well, and they might even get another one if only Erythel is able to connect that kill. But right coming in with that revitalize to save up his teammates, and it is a tactical retreat from the side of Team SLFO, and Team Vigani will try to use this advantage to get that first objective, which is the Lord, which is spawned in the lower area of that river.
Exactly, and there is no competition from the side of Sleeping Forest, and it was an easy lure for the Hayabusa over there. And we can see that Team Sleeping Forest are somehow fixated on that mid lanes area for now. I believe that they want to take that turret down and that they can move around the map easily. And if we look at the lore situation as well, it is marching down from the bottom lane area, and if we look at the mid lane once again, Sleeping Forest are trying to put up a setup for the players of Team Vigani over there. Glorious Path being used, and another narrow escape for the team of Sleeping Forest over there, because if they blundered this glorious path, I believe that it would have been the end for them, because the Lord is already around the tier 2 of that Sleeping Forest, and no player is there to defend the Lord or the turret. And yeah, taking the sweet time of it, they were able to escape because of the glorious path, and now they are able to defend the Lord along with the pressure coming in from the side of Team Vigani. So that was quite a good decision, I would say.
And indeed, and I would like to point out that did you see what Hylos was doing right over there? He was literally acting as a vanguard for his entire team while they were focusing on that Lord at that bottom lane. And this is the thing about having a sustainable hero like Hylos in your composition. He can just give yourself that extra few seconds to recollect and perhaps get your skills organized and get a team fight going. Hylos pick is so cherished by the players in the Land of Dawn. But as we speak, we see that in the middle lane, there is a possible confrontation going on between that Carmela and nearly that Novaria getting another hit on that Suyo, who was pretty low, and he will be forced to go back to his jungle area, perhaps get some creeps and get some hit points back into his arsenal. But right now, the glorious pathway once again comes down from the bottom lane. Suyo is trying to get into the fray, but this can be a very critical team fight going on for the side of Team Sleeping Forest. They'll have to be careful with their picks, and immediately we see that Carmela gets taken out quite early. That does mean that Team Vigani is in a very crucial situation, and Hayabusa comes in and gets that kill off that Zushin. And just like that, it might just fall in favor for Team Vigani, because right now they yet again Hayabusa gets the double kill. And in the nick of time, as I was just saying, that it might seem that Team Vigani are on the back foot, but that Hayabusa and his damage is too much to deal with. He's unstoppable right now, gets the third kill in this initiation from killing off that Garurkacha. And Team Vijani are really looking like they're in a position of comfort right now, because they are forcing those fights from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. They are bringing them in, lurking them in the traps, and then Hayabusa is pouncing on them one at a time.
Exactly, and as they were lagging behind, as they were on the back foot in kill area, they have overcome the situation. And I believe that they would be able to overcome the goal lead as well, because the way they are actually fighting and the way they are creating those setups for our team Sleeping Forest is amazing. And already we can see the Lord is here. So I believe that there might be another fight breaking out around that little wanderer area, because we can see that uh, somehow Gatotkacha is not initiating anymore, and he is trying to play safer, and Zushin is fixated on killing that Hayabusa, which is very necessary if you ask me, because in the previous team fight we had seen that this Hayabusa was maintaining a distance, and then he was able to secure three kills, three major kills to be honest, and that proved to be the game changer for Team Vigani. And we can already see that around the Lord area, all the members of both the team are actually lurking around, and nobody is initiating on anyone. And they are currently initiating onto the Lord, but not fully committed onto it. And we can see that there's just aggressive poking and no commitment, no fully commitment.
And indeed, we did see that Hayabusa was trying to be clever yet again, but this time not being lucky enough, and Team Vigani gets caught up. We do see that Carmilla gets taken down yet again from that Karukacha. Ruby gets taken down from that Roger, and they are really under the pump. Hayabusa move in perhaps to get this turtle. No, he misses, and Suyo gets that retribution, but Hayabusa does manage to get that kill of that Suyo. Perhaps self-sacrifice in this kind of situation. He goes down, and right now Team Vigani are down three heroes. Can they defend this mid lane, as they are immediately under the pump from the side of Team Sleeping Forest? Novaria goes down, four heroes down for the side of Team Vigani, and right now they are really facing the pressure. Only Irithil is left to defend, and Carmilla does come back just in the nick of time to provide assistance, but this was a great team fight from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. It did seem that Hayabusa was going to get the better of Suyo and get that retribution, but Suyo was faster and quicker, and he did manage to secure that lord for the side of Team Sleeping Forest, which is right now marching down from the top lane.
Exactly, and we can see all the players, almost all the players are being cornered except for that Novaria. But I believe that Vigani would have that enough time to defend the Lord over there, because we can see Team Sleeping Forest are actually going in the mid lane area, and now the rotation is towards the top lane area. The mobility these heroes have, oh my goodness! And also, Glorious Fist been used once again, and we can see that with the help of that Avatar of the Guardian, another kill was being secured, and the Lord is now hitting onto that inhibitor, and I believe the inhibitor would be taken down in any moment. And in the meanwhile, Hylos was being taken down, but is it looking promising for Sleeping Forest, if you ask me? No. That possibility. They had the potential to end up that inhibitor of the top lane, but they weren't able to do so in the previous fight.
And indeed, and as you were saying, that inhibitor was going down, but instead it was Hylos who went down, because Team Sleeping Forest just did not perhaps focus on taking down that inhibitor, which was the main objective in that situation. A slight blunder perhaps, or perhaps it was just a bit of miscommunication and Hylos was still staying back for a bit longer. But nonetheless, it is a kill in favor of Team Vigani, who are right now looking to gather themselves back up and go for another aggressive assault on that mid lane inhibitor, because it's almost taken down to very low health. And we will have to give some credit to this Hayabusa, because even though his team fight perhaps has not been able to be that effective in those team fight situations, he has been that solo savior for Team Vigani so far. But I would really expect that Carmilla would play a bit more sensible, because right now she's just making herself an open bait whenever she's going in too deep, and Team Sleeping Forest is just pouncing on her and finishing up her very quickly, which has been the main problem for the side of Team Virani so far.
Exactly, and as you were talking about that, Carmila, I would totally agree with you on that. And if we look at the overall situation, Team Sleeping Forest are leading in gold in terms of kills as well, and they have a better map control now because they have secured 6 of the turrets. And if they continue to do so like this, I don't think Team Vigani would have any type of opportunity to come back into the game anymore. And Astral Rico used by that Novaria to slow down the players of Team Sleeping Forest, but that's of no use because we can already see the mobility these heroes have is proving to be on their side. And in the process, Carmilla is being taken down once again, and we can see that they are trying to chase off the players of Team Vigani and they're forcing them to retreat back. But the Hayabusa might get caught up, and yes, he was being taken down by that Roger over there. But Novaria has to retrieve from the situation, but I don't think she would be able to escape anymore. And Reaper takes him down once again, and it would be an uncontested Lord for Sleeping Forest. And do you think this is going to be the end for Team Vigani?
Perhaps a fatal error coming from the side of Team Vigani gives Team Sleeping Forest the absolute advantage that they could hope for at this stage, because it was very careless from the side of Team Vigani. And as I was talking about that Carmilla, you have to be more careful. You are a tank, you are a roamer, but that does not mean that you can go sustain all the damage in the world in this kind of a situation. You have to keep track of where your teammates are, because once you are taken down, there is no one else to tank for your entire team. And unfortunately, that was the case for Team Vigani in that exchange. But nonetheless, the Lord is coming down from that top hand side, and Team Sleeping Forest are looking to perhaps end the game with this push. And we do see an aggressive from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. They are really trying to go for the Novaria, gets taken down from that Garud Kacha. The Glorious Pathway comes in. This can be the final floor as we are talking about from the side of Team Vigani, but they are trying their best to get as much of an exchange they can from this fight. And perhaps Team Sleeping Forest overexerting a little bit too much in this case. They were not in a comfortable position. They initiated before the Lord had gone in, and somehow Team Vigani managed to pull this one back into their favor.
Exactly as I was expecting that this might be the end for them, but somehow they have tried their best to turn the table for them, and we can see that they are now marching forward. That mid lane's tier 3 now, and Glorious Path being used once again, but the players are in a very, very higher HP than they are, so they would be forced to retreat back. But just because there wasn't any minion from the side of Team Vigani, they were not able to march furthermore, and so just with a very low HP, the tier 3 still stands there, but would it be enough? Because we can already see that Kacha is once again here, Zushin is here once more, and I believe that this time they might just defend them. And already we can see an initiation coming in from the Kacha. That was a pretty precise move. Hayabusa is being taken down by Hylos over the killing spree by that Ruby, and Suyu is being taken down. So things are looking quite neck to neck in this particular fight. But would that player be able to retreat back? But no, they gave that Kacha no chance to retreat back, and he was being taken down finally.
What a brilliant use of that Avatar of Guardian from that Garud Kacha, but still somehow Team Vigani manages to get 2 kills in their favor in that exchange, and it just shows the itemization advantage that they have. Look at that items from that Airtel, from that Novaria. They've already got their damage items set in, and even Carmilla, being the tank that she is, has been focusing on those damage sustain items. And right now, without their jungler, it does seem that Team Vigani might just get the advantage in this lore. But look at that. Roger hasn't spotted out that Carmilla, who is just next to him in that bush. And these are simple things that might just change the tide of the game. We'll have to be very careful about these kind of positioning. And we do see that right now in the top lane, Hylos was trying to get some of the minions perhaps going into that top lane, since there is no inhibitor there to protect the base of Team Vigani. But nonetheless, both teams will be forced to circulate around the map and come back to that Lord area, because 20 minutes already in this match, Asteria. 20 minutes is a long time in the Land of Dawn. Funny things can happen. Funny things have happened in the past when you cross that 20-minute mark. And now it's all about who pulls the trigger first. Who's the first to make the mistake? Who's the first to capitalize on that mistake? We'll have to wait and find out. And both these teams are showing no signs of retreat, no signs of retreating, and certainly no signs of losing that aggression.
And once again, we can see that round the fight has broken down. Suyu is being taken down by that Hayabusa over there, and we can see another player might just get taken down from the side of Team Vigani because they are in a very low HP. And yes, Carmilla was being taken down by that Hylos over there. Once again, Avatar of the Guardian used by the Gacha. Will they be able to secure a kill? And yes, Irithel was being taken down along with that nobody over there. That is the Novaria, and we can see that Roger is trying to chase off that Hayabusa, and he would be able to do so, I believe. But Immortality popped out, and still he wasn't being taken down. And finally, the kill goes to that Hylos instead. Glorious Path being used once again, and they are going in for the inhibitor of the mid lane area. And I believe that this time they would be taking down the inhibitors first, and then they would be going for the kills. And just before I could finish the sentence, they went in for the base already. The minion is there. They are not caring about that the minions aren't there, but they just dived in, and finally they locked onto the base. So congratulations to Team Sleeping Forest for winning the first round of this best of 5 series.
And as I was saying throughout this game, that Carmilla, every time she came up in front of that opposition, it was always the same thing that Nanu 2-0 take love from Team SLFO as they ride down 1-0 in this series in the grand finals of this tournament. And the display of dominance from that Hylos, he was dishing out that damage and sustaining at the same time. So fair credits to Reaper because he showed a masterclass on how to play that Hylos. At the same time, Suyo was struggling at that middle phase of that game because of that damage from that Hayabusa, from that Novaria. But the team fight and the team coordination from Team SLFO proving to be just a bit too much for Team Vigani to handle in this case.
Exactly, but somehow things did not work out for Team Vigani, but I hope they have something in their sleeves to recover from the situation. And if we look at that, Ruby got the MVP from their side. And if we talk about that Hylos, he actually achieved that MVP thing for them. And we can see in the statistics as well, he provided 27% of that hero damage. That is huge. So yeah, and if we talk about the team fight as well, he had taken he participated in all the team fights, and that is showing that 87% for him. So and already if we look at other players' stats, they have done their well as well. So yeah, things are looking quite promising for Team SLFO Forest because they have started on a greater side. So they already have that confidence boost on their team. So let's see if they're able to hold on to this pride. And before that, we would be taking a very short break.
Fonuga vibuli hayata netungulilani takummisaki mezuga efesh gameуга kudunu speeduga e PUBG gana
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e teku toku fura e fitu cheku taka be OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki bajiduwa
Furusato liberi technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fentan fuga vecce libe fa
Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಒಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರೀದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the second round of this high voltage grand finale between SLFO Forest, Sleeping Forest, and also between the team of Team Vigani. And in the previous round, we had seen that Sleeping Forest were totally aggressive on them, and they dominated throughout the match. Even though Team Vigani tried their best to give out a competitiveness for them, they somehow could not get the opening, and so they could not get the possible result they had expected for. But since this is a best of five, we believe that they would try their best to come back to this round. So, what are your expectations, Gambit?
I mean, indeed, this is the grand finale, right? There is no room for error. And Team Vigani, they did make a lot of errors in that previous game. Perhaps they will polish on those mistakes that they made and prove to be more improvised in this time around. But then again, they need to get a game plan going from the early phase of the game because against a team like SLFO, you'll have to be very precise about what you do. If you want to initiate, you have to initiate. If you want to back out, you have to back out. There is nothing in between. And that is the area that I would say Team Vigani needs to improvise a bit more if they have in it to get themselves back in this game. As we do go back into this ban phase for the game two of this series in the grand finale, we do see that from the side of Team Vigani, they have already banned out that Roger and Ruby. Those two heroes in that previous game did try to do their parts, but perhaps a bit short because of the game plan strategy they had. But nonetheless, from the side of Team SLFO, we do see two very heavy hitting bans, that Lucas and that Badang getting banned up quite early. So this is interesting because Team SLFO, given the fact that they were on the early aggression in that previous game, do you expect them to carry on with that same momentum in this game as well, Astavia? And right now, we do see that the third ban from the side of Team Vigani is still yet to take place. And there are a lot of options for both these teams because even though they did ban out those two damage dealing heroes from the side of Team SLFO and those two match controlling heroes from the side of Team Vigani, they are still yet to decide on something that they will really target on. And perhaps they just read my mind and they did ban that Zushin, which was a very problematic hero in that first game. So this is going to be interesting to see how does Team SLFO respond to this Zushin ban because they were the ones who utilized that hero up to its full capacity.
Exactly, and I'm quite a bit surprised that they did not ban out that Zushin at the first place and Hylos on the second because they left that Hylos open. And what if Team Sleeping Forest takes that Hylos once again? That will be completely menace for them. And on the other hand, we can see from the side of Sleeping Forest, they did not do that mistake, and they did ban out that Hayabusa at the first chance they got. No, and along with that, they banned out that Lucas and Badang as well. So they are not looking out for any damage dealing hero that might provide that might prove to be devastating for them. And on the other hand, we can see from the side of Team Vigani, they went in for that Sicilian. So in the late games, I believe they have something planned out.
And indeed, Asteria, no matter how many heroes you ban, you are only limited to 10 bans. And there are over 120 heroes in the Land of Dawn. So there will be some picks that you just can't perhaps keep out from your opponent's grasps. And Sicilian was one of those kind of heroes. But talking about cherished picks, we do see that Sleeping Forest, they go for that Suyo pick yet again. And can say perhaps trying to redeem himself from his previous match performance, perhaps trying to deliver something better and even deadlier from that first game. What do you think?
I believe that he would go for it. And as I was talking about it, I don't know why they kept the vanguards open for Sleeping Forest. And now they have picked onto that Gatot Kacha once again, along with that Suyu. So the avatar of the Guardian would be poking them in any team fight, and then the Suyu would be doing his damages. So Team Vigani has to look out for these two heroes, and they have to pick something to counter them.
And indeed, the pressure is on Team Vigani because they will need to come up with a game plan this time around. They are already 1-0 down in this best of five series in the grand finals. And right now, we do see that the Benedetta gets picked up, which is very interesting because although we have seen a few Benedetta picks throughout this tournament, I think this is very interesting because against heroes like the Suyo and the Garukacha, the Benedetta is going to be a very clinical hero to execute. And with the Benedetta, Team Vigani also go for that Harith pick. So this is going to be interesting. They are going for a very mobile team composition with those dashing heroes. And I think Team Sleeping Forest, they are wasting no more time. They immediately lock onto that Minsita that was open to counter this high mobility from the side of Team Vigani.
Exactly. And if we talk about Sleeping Forest, they were always uh this better in team fights and always this better in picking the heroes. And along with that, we can see from the side of Sleeping Forest, they have banned out that Carmilla, the chance they got. And yeah, in the previous round, even though they were able to take that Carmilla down easily, I think that they saw this possibility of the combination between Sicilian and Carmilla, and that's why they banned it out, which was a pretty good move, I would say. And the next ban would be coming in from the side of Team Vigani, and they have banned out that Novaria, so they do not want to face off that Astral Eco on their side now. And yeah, the last ban would be from the side of Sleeping Forest. And let's see which hero they go for, because still rumors are open and they have went in for the Matilda. And we know Team Vigani actually plays very good support heroes. And yeah, that was a quite good decision. But the flooring is still open. The Minotaur is still open. So that might be one of the choices of Team Vigani. But the last ban of this round would be coming in from the side of Team Vigani. And since we do not see any type of marksman yet, I believe that they would go for a marksman oriented ban. And I think that they should ban out that Iritel or mage as well. So before even I could finish my sentence, they banned out that Xavier. So they do not want that kind of crowd control coming in from the side of Sleeping Forest, since there is already that Gatot Kacha to do the damage. But to answer that back, Sleeping Forest went in with the Eve. So the real world manipulation might be a problem for that Vendetta and that Harith in team fight, don't you think?
And indeed, it's not only the real world manipulation that I'm worried about. It's the King's Calling, the Avatar of Guardian, all these skills, the amount of crowd control and area effect damage these skills can provide. It is going to be very interesting to see that how does Team Vigani actually manage to escape out of the clutches of Team Sleeping Forest when those skills are in play. But something totally different we are seeing right now is that Atlas being popped up. And perhaps Team Vigani might even prefer this Atlas pick. They do pick up that Alpha as their jungler option. And no, they did switch in the very last moments and they've went for that chip pick, which I would say is a very good decision in this kind of a situation because it gives them that ambush opportunity and that element of surprise that they might actually need to get the better of the heroes selected by Team Sleeping Forest.
Exactly, and we know about the shortcut use of that chip, and that could be quite problematic for anyone to face off in between the team fights or among in any skirmish situation. And on the other hand, we can see that they have went in for the Claude. So Claude against that Harry is something we would actually be interested to see, because if you talk about it, Harry has a lot of high damage, burst damage. So to face that off, that Dexter would be there along with that Claude. So that is going to be something very interesting. And the way actually that Blazing Duet works on the people, that is something you don't want to be caught up in between. So that's going to be very interesting, I believe. But if we ask about the upper hand, which team do you think has an advantage, more advantage?
I mean, it is very clear from the team compositions that Team Sleeping Forest are going to be very team fight dependent in this game. But on the other hand, Team Vigani, they do have that mobility factor, as I was talking about, from those heroes like that Harith, like that Benedetta. Even the Alpha might use that Spear of Alpha to get out of tricky situations. But I will be keeping a close eye on this Chip, who is already under some pressure in the bottom lane because he tried to go on the offensive against that Mincetar. And the thing about playing a hero like Chip is that you need to be poking your enemy constantly. Because if you do not expose yourself as a threat to them, they will completely look over you and bypass that element of fear that the chip can bring in with those sudden ambushes.
Exactly, and along with that, we are already in the land of dawn. It has been 1 minute, and in the previous round, we had seen that between this 1 minute situation, they had shown super aggression. But if we look at this match, they are not initiating anything. They are just going with this aggressive poking. And while I was saying this, they have shown their aggression firstly, and the first blood goes to that Gatot Kacha. Chip was being taken down, and as you were talking about that Chip showing aggression, they took him down, giving him no opening for creating a setup for his team. And on the other hand, we could also see that Benedetta was in a very low HP and she was being chased down, but finally she was able to retrieve back from that cornered out situation. But Chip, reincarnating once again, is back onto the track and he is trying to rotate towards that mid lane area, I believe, because if he does not rotate around, he won't be able to tell his teammates about the positioning of the opponents, since the turtle would be spawning soon. But even if he does so, we can see that Suyu has committed onto the turtle. On the other hand, in the bottom lane area, we can see the team fight is another team fight is breaking out, or is it? Do you think a distraction created by Sleeping Forest?
Distraction or not, the objective does go to Team Sleeping Forest as they secure this first hill, and the real world manipulation comes out, and that chip gets taken down by that Eve. And suddenly, we do see this sort of composed gameplay coming out from the side of Team Sleeping Forest, because they are not going to let Team Vigani get that authority in this game. They're not going to give them that commanding position that they perhaps gave in the previous game, which is why Team Vigani somehow managed to come back into the game slowly as the game progressed. But this time around, it's not going to be the same thing. And there is always a saying that fortune favors the brave, but too much of something is never a good thing. And Chip has to keep that in mind. He needs to be very selective about what he does, and we do see an initiation coming out in the top lane. Claude forced to use his blazing duet to perhaps get into a position of safety, and right now both these teams are showing early intent, and this is a very good thing to see, because remember, this is the grand finals. One team will get the glory, the other, no one will remember who comes second. That is an old saying that we follow. But this is going to be a very tough task to see that if Team Vigani can come back into this game after this early initiation from the side of Team Sleeping Forest, as the King's Calling comes out. And we do see another initiation, the real world manipulation comes out, and Yves getting another kill. Benedetta comes in and secures a kill on that Minster, but Yves got a double kill, gets shut down by Sicilian in that exchange as well. And Suyo somehow trying to escape, trying to get away from this early damage that Benedetta is providing. And perhaps it was a good decision for Suyo to not go for that Benedetta, because we do know that the Benedetta is quite deadly in those early phases as the game progresses. But make no mistake, Eve is really proving to be something that Team Vigani needs to take note of, because if left unnoticed, she will slowly start up to rack her damage even more. And given the composition, Team Sleeping Forest, they will exactly want that.
Exactly, and we can already see that Benedetta is dealing a lot of damage onto that Minsitar. But in the meanwhile, if you look at the top lane area, we can see that Chip was being cornered out by that Eve once again, and Eve was being taken down by her. And again, we can see another turtle has popped out in the bottom lane, and we can see that Sicilian was trying to put up a pressure onto that turtle, but Minsitar was the one to secure it for them. But in the meanwhile, Alpha was being taken down by the Tsuyu over there. Real world manipulation was again being used by Eve, but this time it is going to be Suyu who would get the kill of that Sicilian over there. But if we look at the top lane area, we can see that Harith is trying to prove his worth to that Claude, and he is not backing off at all, and he is trying his best to clear out the lanes, and he's just focusing onto the farming, which is a very good sign from him. And if we look at the overall situation, Team Sleeping Forest is leading in gold as well as kill. They are leading by almost of 3k gold, and yeah, that is giving them the earlier advantage. So far, and we can see that Tim Vigani is somehow trying to corner out solo players, and Benedetta was able to take that Minsita down in the bottom lane area along with the help of the Tsuyu over there. But would these players from Sleeping Forest be able to escape this narrow situation? But in the meanwhile, Chip gets taken down by the Claude over there, but Claude gets punished for overstaying, and Harith takes him down. And I believe this time Team Vigani should retreat back because they have dealt a lot of damage from the players and they has to retreat back. Otherwise, things might not work out in their favor. Sicilian gets taken down in the process, and we can see, with a very low HP, Harris was trying to escape from the situation, but gets caught up by that Suyu. So I believe this is going to be the end for the tier 3 of that mid lane.
And indeed, it does seem that Team Vigani are trying to put up some fight for getting some sort of control back into this game. That Suyo is proving to be hard to deal with because even though Team Sleeping Forest are in a good position, they are not being able to get a clear hold of that Benedetta, who has been a menace so far for that Mensitar. And it is going to be important to see that whether or not Mensitar can get a kill on that Benedetta, because he has been trying so far, but every single time Benedetta just gets the upper hand. And as we do see that this time around, Alpha does manage to get that turtle for the side of Team Vigani, and perhaps Team Sleeping Forest were not in a position to go for the turtle since Suyo was not in the fray. But it is an objective in favor of Team Vigani, which will give them some room to at least get control back from.
Exactly, and we can see that both the team are focused on taking down the tier 3 of mid lane, because taking down the tier 3 of mid lane is very crucial for you because you get a better map control of, and you get to rotate faster. And things are looking quite passive for both the teams now. No one is initiating anything. Everyone is just focused on their farming. On the meanwhile, we can see that the players of Sleeping Forest are trying to create a setup for that Vendetta. And yeah, understanding the situation, she was able to retreat back. And if we look at that Gatot Kacha, he is rotating all over the map. Avatar of the Guardian being used once again, but this time he would be taken down by that Benedetta over there. I think that they have to retreat back because once again, even though Gatot Kacha tried his best, but Suyu gets taken down in the meddling of Team Vigani over there. Somehow the setup did not act in favor of Sleeping Forest over there, and Cheap is once again being taken down. I don't know why Cheap just went in there without any type of damage dealers with him.
And indeed, it has been unfortunate for Chip because he has been on the wrong side of every exchange up to this point, and it is quite menacing from the side of Team Sleeping Forest that they're really targeting Chip a lot in this game as well. But nonetheless, as you were saying, that roaming freely in those bushes in that manner, you should not be able to make those silly mistakes, because in a game of this caliber, you really need to maintain your movements and rotations following certain patterns so that the opposing team cannot predict your movement. And I think Chip will be focusing on that as the game progresses. But nonetheless, Team Vigani have managed to get some foot back into this game as they're now almost neck and neck in terms of goal. But we do see that Harith getting that tower out from the top lane. It will give them some more room to move in this map as the Lord spawns in that upper area of the river. And suddenly we do see that it all feels a bit too much balanced, and perhaps both these teams are going to go for another initiation, and they indeed do in that middle lane. That Sicilian gets taken down by that Suyo. Double kill from Kenzai as he gets another kill. Unstoppable from that Benedetta, gets shut down by that Claude. But Claude in return gets taken down by that Harith. It is an all-out brawl. 3 players down from the side of Team Vigani. 2 players down from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. It might just get even worse as we do see Kenza is trying his best, going to take down that Harith, gets that kill. But on the other hand, Alpha goes down as well, and 5 members down from the side of Team Vigani. This is a crucial wipeout for the side of Team Sleeping Forest, as they will try to now look to get this Lord in favor of their team.
I believe there would be no contest from that Sicilian and that chip over there, because it is quite risky if you go there alone without your damage dealers. And we did see an initiation from that chip, even though there wasn't any type of player to back him up. But that was a good decision, I would say, because he did not get himself taken down by Team Sleeping Forest once again. And if we look at the KDA, it is 076 for him. So I think at this point, this tank needs to play safely, because every time in any team fight, he is being cornered out and he is being taken down at first, and then it is proving to be very crucial for Team Vigani. And on the other hand, we can see in the bottom lane area, Benedetta being taken down by that Claude over there. Real world manipulation being used once again. And as I was just talking about the Chip was being taken down. So 3 players are down from this one particular fight, and we can already see that Carmela is not able to do much for the team as well. Carmela?
And it
No,
does
no, not
seem that
Carmela.
yeah, it's not the Carmela, it's the
I'm
chip
sorry.
actually in this
Yeah.
game. But it is seeming like Team Sleeping Forest took my message a bit too closely. As I said in the previous game, that Nanu 2-0 take love from Team SLFO because they are targeting that chip like a menace. And he's having a real hard time in the Land of Dawn. As we see that in the bottom lane, Benedetta is trying her best to clear out those minions. But it has been that damage Midnight is providing, getting that support from Mad with the Mincetar. And not to forget that Eve with those real world manipulations is just proving too much to deal with for the side of Team Vigani at this moment. Even Kenzai, he's at a very comfortable position. So we'll have to see that if Team Sleeping Forest can get those final objectives in this favor, perhaps get another Lord, clear out those inhibitors, those remaining towers, and get a push on Team Vigani. But in favor of Team Vigani, they really need to step it up because right now they're looking a bit lackluster. They're looking a bit lost. It seems that something they had planned is not going in their favor and they're looking confused of how to react from that. So you cannot have that sense of panic in you in these kind of games.
Exactly, I believe that they had this plan of this chip using his ultimate here and there, and then they might initiate a team fight over there. But every time we see this chip using his ultimate, somehow his teammates aren't there. So he is not backed up by his damage dealers, and that's how he is getting cornered out. But if we look at Team Sleeping Force, they are showing their utmost patience and they're not initiating in anything yet. I believe that they are trying to create a setup for Team Vigani to do a mistake, to falter, and then they might just take advantage of that. In the meanwhile, we can see that they were trying to get to steal that blue buff, and they were able to do that very easily. And the Lord would be spawning the Lord has spawned. The Lord has enhanced. So let's see if Team Vigani falters here in any way, and if they actually lose players over here, because we can already see that Fuyu is trying to get a hold of that Lord. On the other hand, the other players of Sleeping Forest are actually distracting the players of Team Vigani, and they are falling into the trap. They are not able to compete for it. But in the meanwhile, Chief gets that Lord out of nowhere, but a fight has broken down. Three players are down from the side of Team Vigani. Triple kill for that means Sitar instead. That was quite unexpected. The Lord steal was so pretty precise from that chip.
I mean, it was an absolute moment of magic from that chip, getting that shortcut in the nick of time and also securing that lord. But it was a moment of disaster for Team Vigani as they lost three heroes because that shortcut, it was placed immediately on top of that King's Calling. So right now, Team Sleeping Forest, they're in a very good position, but they have to keep in mind that the lord is marching down from the top hand side. They'll need someone to go back into that. And even the super minions going in from the bottom lane. So it is a very good trade, a very good pick off for the side of Team Vigani, in my opinion, because although they lost three heroes, they might just get away pushing two lanes.
Exactly, because the Lord was marching towards the inhibitor of the top lane area, and actually, that did buy them some time to reincarnate and to get a foot back into this game once again. But this time they got lucky, so I believe that they should look out for small gaps like this, just the way Chip did. Somehow, Chip did manage to get that opportunity. He managed to get that opening for his team, and Team Vigani. I believe that Team Vigani wasn't even prepared for this one, as we weren't. So they could not do much over there. And I believe that if they knew that Chip would be able to take that Lord down, they would have created a setup for them instead. And in the meanwhile, Unstoppable secured by that Incitar, he gets the kill of that Benedetta. In the meanwhile, we can see that Eve has taken down that Chip once again. And that Sicilian is trying to provide a bit of damage onto the players of Team Sleeping Forest, but he would be taken down by the Cloud over there. Shutdown secured by that Alpha. That was quite necessary. And if they didn't, they would have taken down the inhibitor with them. But nonetheless, we can see that Harith was somehow trying to defend that inhibitor, but since the minion pressure was on the side of Sleeping Forest, and since they are lacking in player charms, they did lose that inhibitor along with that alpha. So it's always this two players versus five players. But I don't know if they would be able to defend this wave coming in from Sleeping Forest, because we can already see that they are trying to dive in. The minion pressure is on their side. Chip being taken down once again along with that base. So that was quite expected just from 30 seconds ago, because I could see this coming. Just when they lost that alpha, I could see this coming.
Expected or not, Asteria, it does not matter. It is 2-0 for Team SLFO in this grand finals. They have shown dominance yet again in this game. And although there was a moment of magic from this chip, you cannot give away 11 kills in such a high stakes match. I am sorry if I sound a bit too persuasive, but it is a high stakes match. You have to keep in mind that factor. But not yet again, fair credits to that Minsitar, because I was criticizing his ability to get a kill on that Benedetta because he was being bullied by that Benedetta for a fair amount of time in the early games. But Minsitar actually got the better of Benedetta as the game progressed. And although Alpha did try his best to defend that base at the very end, it was a bit too much to handle. And just like that, Team SLFO showing their mettle, showing their skills, showing their fluidity, goes yet again in the lead and maintains that lead. And right now we see that the damage that I was talking about coming from that real world manipulation, Eve getting almost 23% damage. But look at that Minsitar. He was there in that team fight for majority of the time, giving damage and contributing damage to those team fights. So that is the thing that I was talking about, Asteria, that the team composition speaks a lot for itself. And Team SLFO, they really focus on those team fight compositions. And yet again, they just proved me right. And you can see the stats for themselves.
Exactly. Now they are in lead, and the scoreboard is 2-0. And since this is a best of five series, this team of Vigani has to come back in this next round. Otherwise, it will be 3-0, and the round and the whole match and the whole championship would go on the side of Sweeping Forest. So this team Vigani has to think of something fast, and they need to come back to this round. And so we will let them have that break. We will let them have the time to think. And before that, we will be taking a very short break.
Fonuga vibuli hayata netungulila nita kummisaki mezuga e fresh gameuga kudunu speeduga e PUBG gana
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e TikTok fura e fit check taka be OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki bajiduwa
Furusan libuni technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fenta fuga veche libe fa
Jessalima fighti libe Jessalima fighti libe Jessalima fighti libe Jessalima fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರುಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂಗ್ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with that break. We do see that this is the make or break moment for the side of Team Vigani, as they are already 2-0 down in this grand finals. This is going to be their last opportunity to get a comeback going in their favor. But on the other hand, Team Sleeping Forest, the unstoppable force, they have just ran wild past Team Vigani so far in this series. Joining me in the casting deck is Asteria. We are both left speechless by the performance Team Sleeping Forest has shown so far. What do you say, Asteria?
I would totally agree to you actually because I wasn't expecting this type of dominance in the grand finale. So that is something I am still in shock about. And talking of that, we are already diving into the drafting phase where we can see from the side of Sleeping Forest, they have banned out that Lucas and Hayabusa. And from the side of Tim Vigani, they have banned out that Sushin, obviously. And along with that, they have picked that Badang to be banned. Because if we talk about Badang's ultimate, and also if we talk about his feast, that is quite disturbing in team fights and in solo roaming around. And also from the side of Sleeping Forest, we can see they have banned out that Xavier. So they do not want that range from that mage, I believe.
And indeed, it is the case that we do see very similar faces in the bans for both these teams. And it is not going to be surprising because both these teams are very used to playing at this high standard matches in their level. But let's go over these bans yet again. We do see that the Hayabusa gets banned from the side of Team SLFO, followed by that Javier and that Lucas. But on the other hand, similar bans from the side of Team Vigani as well. They ban out that Padang, as you were saying, and as well as that Zushin, who has that immense disruptive skill set of hers as well. And we do see that Sicilian also managing to secure a spot in those bands. But this will leave that Karatkacha open yet again. And indeed, it is the first pick from the side of Team Sleeping Forest, who has been utilizing, milking this hero to be saying the least, throughout this entire series in the grand finals. And yet again, we do see that Team Sleeping Forest wasting no time, securing their favorite picks.
I don't know why Team Vigani keeps this hero open for Sleeping Forest, but because at this point you should know that in the previous two rounds, the amount of damage this Gatut Kacha did to your team, you shouldn't be keeping it open. Along with that Suyu, I would say. They kept that Suyu open, they kept that Gatut Kacha open, and if we remember actually, we had seen that Hylos being a vanguard for his team. So I would have banned out three of these players as soon as I got the opportunity. And as I was talking about that Suyu, they are hovering onto that once again. And I believe they would be locking onto that because Suyu is one of their favorite picks along with that Granger. So once again, we would be seeing this Gatotkacha and Suyu displaying their amazing gameplay throughout the whole map. And to face that off, Team Vigani went in for the Ruby this time along with that Matilda. So we are seeing a new set of heroes here.
And indeed, at Asteria, if you had thought that the first two games of this series was aggressive from the side of Team SLFO, this time around, look at the three picks that they have gone with early. They have gone for that Suyu, Kenzai being that menace he is with that hero in the jungle. But then again, they've got Midnight playing that Granger, and not to forget that Garot Kacha being there. It is a dangerous composition to deal with already as it is. But let's not forget Team Vigani. They know how to counter these heroes. They will be totally investing their faith in that Matilda, in that Ruby, as well as having this carry means that they will be able to dish out damage to those tanky heroes as well. So I think this is a proper response from the side of Team Vigani. But we'll have to wait and see as this second phase of the banning continues, which heroes gets banned out. And it's not a surprise that Team Vigani ban out that Minsitter because it has been so hard to deal with for the side of Team Vigani. They don't want to see that King's calling anymore and they ban it immediately. So Team Sleeping Forest, perhaps this time around, they will bring out something new, something that we haven't seen. Perhaps surprise us with a totally random pick. You never know. This is the ultimate stage. This is the grand finals. This is your moment to shine, Team Sleeping Forest. Give us what you got.
I was just thinking of that Sleeping Forest might just pull out that chip this time. And while I was doing that, I believe Team Vigani could read my mind and they banned it out. And on the other hand, the last ban would be coming in from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. And as you were talking about the surprises, I believe we haven't seen. Let's talk about the heroes we haven't seen yet. That's gonna be Glue. That's gonna be Grok, I believe, and that's gonna be Valerie. So three of them are still open. So let's see if they lock onto any of these roamers. But on the other hand, we can see they have banned out the Pyramis because in the previous match, not today, but yesterday's match, we had seen Team Vigani playing an amazing Pyramis from their side. So that was quite a good decision, I would say, because Paramis could be a very problematic hero for them in the mid lane. On the other hand, they have secured the Joy, so Joy would be dancing around all out the map, and that might cause trouble to Team Sleeping Forest for a while. But to reply with that, they are hovering onto that Hilda and then onto the Julian once again. So if we talk about Nana, we haven't seen Nana. As we were talking about surprises, we haven't seen Nana. So this is going to be a first match of Nana of that Molina.
I mean, you know what Nana says that everyone wants to be friends with Nana, don't they? And it is going to be that Nana pick from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. So this is going to be very interesting. But let me give you the analysis behind that pick. The opponent team, Team Vigani, has a Joy. They have a Matilda. This Nana is actually a good way to minimize those mobility heroes from the side of Team Vigani. So I think Team Sleeping Forest have actually put in some thought into this and just didn't go for a random pick that is totally out of the box. But having that Julian in as well, it just shows that their depth of damage, that Nana, that Suyo, that Julian, that Garukacha, this is a very strong composition from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. And we'll just have to wait and see how does Team Vigani counter this heavy damage dealing lineup. And they do go for a heavy damage for themselves because we see the Farsha coming out from the side of Team Vigani, and nobody will be flying the skies in the land of dawn with that Farsha, perhaps trying to blind out Team Sleeping Forest.
Yes, I get that where you're coming from. And yes, the amount of damage coming in from the Farsa's ultimate, as well as how she would be able to fly away from situations, that is going to be quite annoying. So, if we look at the middle lane this time, there is Nana's Molina. Then comes that Farsa who would just fly away. So both the mages are very annoying here. So we have to wait and watch to see which mage actually is able to annoy the hell out of the opponent here, because if we talk about Nana, the Molina is all over. Also, that Molina buff is something you don't want to face off. And also, if we talk about Farsa, with a very low HP, she would just fly away. And also, with the help of her ultimate, she would be causing devastating damage in any team fight. So, all the players have to be very careful about the mages here. And I believe somehow that these mages have a crucial role to play in this particular round.
And indeed, this is the last chance for Team Vigani, the last hurdle for Team SLFO. Who is going to proclaim victory in this round of the grand finale? We're going to find out sooner or later. But right now, as we dive into the land of dawn, we do see that Carrie is facing a bit traffic early on. Nana comes up to help her teammates out. But it does seem that Team SLFO, they're going to play a bit more of a composed game, because if you remember from those previous matches, they were going heavy in those initiations early on. But given the composition that they have, given that having that Nana and having that Garukacha this time around, they perhaps might change the gameplay a bit. But then again, why would you change? Because it has been going in your favor. So we'll have to wait and see how they actually handle this pressure from Team Vigani, as Garukacha was taking some damage and Farsa was lucky enough to spot out that Nana in that bush, forced to use that flicker to get away. And right now, both these teams are showing very positive intent, and Suyo almost getting a lock onto that Farsha, but Farsha does manage to get away. And even though there is no casualty so far, Matilda does look in a very tricky position. Granger might just get it with the Death Sonata, but somehow Matilda just manages to get away in the nick of time. And this is what I was talking to you about, the aggression from Team Sleeping Forest. Never count them out. Even if it seems like they are backing away from a team fight, think twice, otherwise, you will regret it.
Exactly, because I believe that this Granger did not push his luck because he could understand that the turtle would be spawning, so he didn't want to risk it, and which is a very good move from him, and which is very thoughtful of him, to be honest. And we can see from the side of Sleeping Forest, they are going in for a setup, I believe, in the Turtle Riverside, and we can already see that Farsa was being taken down by the Gatakacha while I was just talking. The first blood goes to him, but Reaper somehow dives into the deep and he was being punished for that. And in the meanwhile, we can see all the players are committing onto the turtle. So it's a matter of fact to see who gets the turtle first and if any kill is being secured over here. Nana finally gets taken down. The passive was ended. So I believe this time Team Vigani would have the turtle because there is no competition around here and Joy was able to secure it for the team. And already we can see that Katakacha was being taken down as well. So even if Sweeping Forest did start in a very positive way, Team Vigani is showing their worth. They are showing that they are not yet out of this game.
And indeed, they are going to have to show that they really want this. No team wants it less, but it's just a matter of which team wants it more. And Team Vigani has to prove that they want it more than Team SLFO if they have any chance of retaining their hopes in this grand finals. But right now, we do see that Matilda was able to get that kill of that Nana, and it is seeming like Team Vigani has finally thought of a game plan that is kind of going into their favor so far in this game. They are up ahead in terms of kills and even in terms of that gold advantage. And this is going to be interesting to see that for the first time, we do see that Team Sleeping Forest are perhaps going a bit more passive. So if they will maintain and continue that
Hmm.
way, and the Guardian of the Avalon just comes right in the nick of time, but somehow that carry does manage to get away. And just like that, as I was telling you, that Team Sleeping Forest, even if it seems that they are backing out of a fight, never count them out because they will make you regret if you do.
Exactly, and if we look at the overall situation, Team Vigani has secured 4 kills already. They are leading in gold as well. So, for now, so far, they are looking in a very positive side, and I believe that they would want to hold on to this. They wouldn't want to falter in any place because we can see that how composed they are now. Because if we compare their team fight with the earlier matches, we can see that they have a plan now and they are doing their best now. Farsa used her ultimate once again, securing the kill of Gatot Kacha over there, which was very great display of her skills, to be honest, and killing spree secured by that Matilda. So this Matilda is assassinating, if you have noticed.
And indeed, that Matilda is already 3-0-4 in this game, but that just shows you the damage potential even a roaming hero like Matilda might have. And we do see that even in the bottom lane, Julian is under the pump. He barely manages to get away. Ruby is not going to let him go. Perhaps a bit too risky from the side of Team Vigani, but they will need to be careful because if they let Team SLFO come back into this game, they will be forced to go on the retreat. But getting that objective secured in their favor further enhances their goal advantage. And we do see that Ruby, she did try to get that kill of that Julian very desperately, perhaps a bit too much desperation coming up. You'll have to be very careful because a hero like that Garud Kacha can just come up on you at a blink of an eye. And if you are in that tower proximity, you might just give your kill away.
Exactly. I believe that she had this confidence that she has that flicker. That's why she just risked it a bit. But yeah, as you were talking, that she has to be more careful about it because not every time flicker would be there. Not every time he would get the chance. And already we can see that Matilda has used her cycling eagle to get out of the squirmy situation that could have happened. And yeah, for now we are seeing that Team Sleeping Forest is playing quite passive, if you ask me, in comparison to their style of gameplay. And they and taking advantage of this, Team Bigani is actually going very aggressive. On the other hand, we can see that they are going in for the tier 3 of the mid lane of Sleeping Forest, and I believe that they would be able to take that down. And along with that, they have taken down Nana and double kill for the Joy over there, getting the kill of Gatot Kacha. And I believe that there might be another kill secure for them, because we can see how much of damage they are dealing and how much they are composed in the team fight. But Joy somehow overseas and was being punished for this. And now we can see this Matilda is trying her best to escape, and she was able to do so. And as we were talking about this, I was expecting a more aggressive gameplay from this Ranger, but which I haven't seen yet.
I mean, we did expect damage coming out from the side of Team Sleeping Forest, but it has been totally the opposite of that so far in this game, because they are finding themselves a bit behind the pace that they usually play with. But perhaps it's only a matter of time as the damage starts to rack up as the game progresses. We're almost approaching that 8 minute mark, and we do see that the Suyo will try to go for that objective, tries to get that gold creep out of the way first, but gets spotted by that. Matilda has Nana to back him up, but this is going to be a very tricky situation to get out of. Farsa using her ultimate to zone out that Suyo further and further away from that turtle, and this might mean it's an uncontested objective for the side of Team Vigani, and they will desperately want this because they want to get into a more advantageous position if they have any hopes of coming back into this grand final series. We did see Nana getting taken down yet again, and perhaps this Nana pick proving too much of a gamble for the side of Team Sleeping Forest. Although we were asking for something totally different, they did provide us with something different. It hasn't worked in their favor so far, but we'll have to wait and see how they actually manage to come back from this kind of a situation as Tabia. Because as the game progresses, it is going to get more and more in favor for Team Vigani if things continue like this.
Exactly, because Kyrie would have all her builds done, and that might be a trouble for all the tanky heroes of Sleeping Forest. And once again, we can see that Fursa using her ultimate once again, and that is causing trouble to that Julian, and he was being taken down. He was just cornered over there because four of the players were there, and somehow I believe that Team Sleeping Forest became overconfident about some things, and then they started to play in a passive situation, which is causing them trouble now. And already we can see this assassin Matilda took down that Suyu. Nana gets taken down by the Joy over there, and Avatar of the Guardian being used, but that is of no use yet. But yeah, finally he gets to shut down that Matilda, but he was being punished as well. So if we look at the overall situations, Team Vigani has secured 16 kills, 2 turrets, and all the objectives in favor of them. So I believe that this is going to be another turret for them, which is the tier 2 of that mid lane. And in the meanwhile, killing spree for that Joy. If we look at the KDA, it is 516 for this jungler, which is pretty amazing.
And indeed, it is a total heads over heels situation in favor of Team Vigani, because they have risen out of the graves from those first two games in terms of cooperation and coordination of team fights. They are looking like a totally different team, risen from the ashes of that Phoenix, and the feather airstrike once again coming out from that Farsha proves to be enough to force Nana to go back and perhaps even escape. But luckily, Suyo was not so lucky. Caddy gets a kill here and there, and this is proving to be too much to handle for the side of Team Sleeping Forest. And that is totally like an anecdote of the situation we had seen in the earlier games, the first two games of this series to be exact. But right now, Team Vigani are totally on top of this of Team SLFO.
Exactly, and with that being said, the turtle goes to the side of Tim Vigani. On the other hand, we could see that Julian trying to take a turret down, and he was able to do so, but he has to retreat back because the rotation is coming towards his side. And yeah, with that being said, we can see the Lord will be marching from the mid lane area. So let's see if Team Sleeping Forest are able to defend this Lord before it causes too much damage to them. But in the meanwhile, we can see that Matilda is trying to poke out the players of Sleeping Forest around their own buff, and the players of Team Vigani had a setup for them. Feathering airstrike used once again, and Matilda is being taken down by that Ranger. But I don't think that would be enough for them yet. But Joy gets taken down. Double kill for the Granger. Make a kill for the Ruby. The inhibitor is being taken down. Double kill for the Ruby. And yes, things are looking quiet. Cornered out for Sleeping Forest now. But the players of Team Vigani have dealt with a lot of damage. So shut down and double kill for the Julian. So As we were just talking about Sleeping Forest going into the back foot, they just flipped the table for them once again, and they are showing that they are still not out of the game. So, do you think they would be able to make a comeback here?
And indeed, and as I say so many times, in the land of dawn, funny things can happen, funny things have happened. It just takes one team fight to turn the tide of the game entirely sideways. And we're seeing exactly that as Team Sleeping Forest managed to get some breathing space. We do see that Julian is in a very tight position. Suyo is there in the proximity to help him out, but so is Joy. We'll have to wait and see that if they can get that. Karukacha comes in with that Guardian of Avatar. But this is going to be a kill in favor of Team Sleeping Forest as they get to get that crucial kill of Matilda. And this is going to be interesting because right now we see a rejuvenated Sleeping Forest. Perhaps they were sleeping all this time, but right now they're totally not asleep. They have entirely woken up and very focused on getting to a comeback situation in this game, Asteria.
Exactly. They have woken up by the chaos created by Team Vigani over there, I believe. But if we look at the mid lane area, Team Vigani have created a setup for Team Sleeping Forest over there. But mega kill secured by the Granger over there. Joy is being taken down. I believe another fight might just break out in any moment in the mid lane area. We can already see that is happening. But will that be in favor of Sleeping Forest? We have to wait and watch for that. Feathering airstrike used once again. Avatar of the Guardian being used. Julian is being taken down by the Farsa over there. A team fight has broken down, but we can see that that Kacha was being cornered out and he would be taken down. So we can see that Nana, understanding the situation, retreated back when he had time. So two players were being taken down from the side of Sleeping Forest in this particular team fight. And I believe the fight might just carry on in the bottom lane area where we can see the players of Team Vigani are chasing all the players of Sleeping Forest over there. Farsa taking the kill of that Suyu over there. Matilda is being taken down by Nana. And if we look at that carry, she is just focused on securing the Lord for her team, which is very necessary at this point because they have that map control on them, they have the damage, so why not the Lord? And along with that Lord, they will be able to march down directly to the base since the mid lane's inhibitor has been broken down.
And indeed, we did see that Ruby was forced to use that flicker to get away as Team Sleeping Forest were starting to resurrect and come back into the fray. But right now, Team Vigani are in a very comfortable position as this Lord is going to march down from that middle lane, a totally unprotected lane. There is no inhibitor to stop that Lord and the super minions as well. So Team Vigani will need to focus on those side lanes, perhaps get a split push so that the minion pressure might prove to be too much for the side of Team Sleeping Forest. But on the other hand, in the top lane, we see that Julian is getting taken down by that Joy. And oh no, it is an Uno reverse from that Julian as he takes down that Joy and somehow manages to survive a 2v1 situation. But in the base, the Lord is already there. Can we see a comeback from the side of Team Sleeping Forest? Because it was looking that Julian might not make it, but right now he's in a very good position. Finally gets taken down from that carry, from that Ruby. But what a gameplay coming out from the side of Reaper. He took out Joy in an instant and perhaps even surprising Team Vigani because they had plans to push out on Team Vigani with that Lord. And right now, it just might enable Team Sleeping Forest to take down a few turrets and get back into this game. We do see that Granger is also trying to establish his dominance in this game as the game has progressed up until that 15 and a half minutes. So the damage is going to be there for Granger as well as that Suyo. Nana perhaps now is going to come into her element with that magic damage. So it is a very tricky time right now, Asteria. Do you think that perhaps a comeback is on its way? Can Sleeping Forest do a comeback, which is totally against the tide of what we've seen in the first two games?
I am not predicting anything because anything can happen in the land of dawn. And with that being said, Suyu was being taken down. Where we just were just talking about the hope of coming back, they shut us down along with that kill, along with taking the turret down with them. And yeah, currently Team Vigani are looking very aggressive onto the players of Sleeping Forest, especially that Matilda, I would say. And yeah, we can see that they are going to corner out the players into their base while this carry actually cleans up the lane and then wait for the Lord to appear over there. And I believe that they are trying to just poke around and then keep the players into their base and then get what they want. And then they might just go in for the base directly, because if they do that, that will be fruitful for them. And just unnecessary fights are necessary here to aren't expected here, to be honest, from any of the teams, because it is a crucial moment going on around this area, and somewhere where Team Vigani has this possibility of doing comeback to this best of 5 series, I don't think they would be faltering. They wouldn't want any type of opportunity to falter. And with that being said, Joy was able to secure that lord for his team, but we can see a rotation coming towards that bottom lane area from side of Sleeping Forest, but they have to be careful about the lord marching down. Also, the amount of pressure that minions would be giving them in all the lanes, to be honest, because it's just the two inhibitors, and super minions will be coming from the mid lane. But if you look at the side lanes as well, bigger size of minions are there, you know. So yeah, they have to be very careful about that.
I'm offended coming out from that Ruby, and Julian gets taken down, and so does Garkacha. It looks like it is going to be the nail in the coffin for Team Sleeping Forest. Will they be able to take down this lord in time? Yes, they do. But Team Vigani are in their base. Invaders are in at your doorstep. Can Sleeping Forest keep them out? And even Suyo goes down. The feather airstrike comes out from that Farsha. Too much damage to deal with, and the base goes down. Team Vigani are back in this series. What a performance from their side.
And as I was just talking about high voltage match, Team Vigani did prove to be high voltage as well, because in this particular round, the way they were composed, the way they played all the heroes was absolutely amazing. So if we look at the statistics, it is going to be Ruby who gets the MVP. And if we look at Matilda, the KDA is pick 519. You know, it's better than the mage here. So the assassin roamer, the assassin support did a very amazing job here. And we cannot leave out Parsa as well, because whenever she was using that feathering airstrike, the enemies were forced to retreat back. They were forced to move away from the team fight that was happening. So yeah, I would give kudos to all the players, because this time they have shown us amazing gameplay, amazing team fight, and the synergy was synergying, you know. And yeah, somehow Sleeping Forest did wake up in between, but somehow they fell asleep once again. But I believe in the next round we would be seeing a more aggressive gameplay from both the teams, because Team Sleeping Forest wouldn't want to give it away to Team Vigani that easily. Because if the Team Vigani comes back in the next round as well, it is going to go to the team. It is going to go to the fifth round of this best of 5 series, and I believe that none of the players who have that upper hand in scoreboard would want that. So if we look at the scoreboard, it is 2-1 till now, 2 for Sleeping Forest and 1 for Team Vigani. So we would have to wait and watch till the next match to see what actually this best of 5 series has in store for us. So before that, we would be taking a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We would be right back.
Fonuga vibuli hayata netungulila nita kummisaki mezuga e fresh game'uga kulunu speed'uga e PUBG gana
Snap kore aisa ka meme taka e furi feed'uga e TikTok fura e fit check taka ve OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki bajiduwa
فرصة لبني تكنولوجي لبي كوري إرما إكو هارو فاتوغا لبي هوس بغتا وغتون وفلا لبي هو فنتا فولا ويتشي لبي فا
Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe Jassali ma fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್.
Bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾದೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾದ Coming hingalam benomiya Ooredoo 5G jassala. Kurierumen avaha beenundo 5G jassala. ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ
And we
Welcome
are
back,
back
ladies and
into this
gentlemen.
again. And right now, it is a very tricky situation because as we had thought that perhaps Team Vigani were out of the picture, somehow they have found hope and somehow they have found a way back into the series. It is 2-1 right now. It's still in favor of Team SNFO. And with me in the Castor de Gastiria, both of us surprised with the result of that previous game because out of nowhere, a sudden burst of excitement, energy, and aggression from Team Vigani.
Exactly. They came out of nowhere and putting Sleeping Forest into sleep, and they just won the round with super aggression, with a better composition. And I was kind of expecting it throughout the whole tournament for some team to do this comeback, and somehow finally Team Vigani was able to actually satisfy me with this. So we are moving on to the fourth round of this best of five series, and I hope Team Vigani has something in their sleeve similar to the previous round, because if they falter here, it's gonna be the sleeping forest once again. And nobody would want that, to be honest. And talking of that, we are already in the drafting phase where we can see Roger is being banned and Joy is being banned from that sleeping forest, making no mistake. They have banned out that assassin roamer that is the Matilda, and as well as they have banned out that Sushin who provides a lot of damage, also who provides support for the whole team.
And indeed, and these are very calculated bans from the side of Team SNFO because they don't want to take any more chances. Perhaps they had their fun in that previous game, picking up with that Nana and doing whatever not. But right now, things are serious because this is the grand finals. You have to remember what's at stake. So we'll have to wait and see that what does Team Vigani go for the third ban and what does Team Sleeping Forest has to respond to that. But so far, both these teams are looking for those team fight setups because we have seen that the team that gets the better composition in terms of team fight and area control, they are the most likely to go for that early snowball advantage in their favor. So this is going to be a test for Team Vigani to see that if they go for that or do they go for that old damage tactic. But as I was talking, literally stopped right in my tracks. I see that Hayabusa yet again, and Big Bird. We know what he can do with that Hayabusa, and immediately in response, Team Sleeping Forest locks in to that Suyo yet again. Kensei perhaps had a disappointing match in that previous game, but this time around, there's always room for redemption. And redemption he might get because yet again that Garo Kacha goes to the hands of Team SLFO. And this hero is being used again and again and again by Team Sleeping Forest. And it just shows how much of an interest she has. So we'll have to keep an eye on whether or not there are a few more Guardian of the Avatars coming in favor for Team Sleeping Forest.
It's like they wouldn't give out this hero to anyone, and they are determined that yes, I will play this hero no matter what. I'm gonna lock onto this hero. So these two heroes have been constant throughout this best of five series, and on the other hand, we can see from the side of Team Vigani, they have went in for that Ruby along with that carry once again, and we can already see that Minset are finding his way again onto the side of Team SLFO Sleeping Forest. So things are looking quite interesting, if you ask me.
And indeed, things are looking that they will be shaping up to our expectations, because right now Team Vigani, they are going to do whatever it takes to come back into this series. They are down by a game, but it is not the end of their hopes and ambitions to get that crown in this grand finals. So we'll have to wait and see how they actually utilize this Ruby and that carry. Carry was very influential for them in that previous game. But right now, if we look over those bans yet again, Sicilian was the last ban from the side of Team Vigani, as well as moving to the next phase, we see that Carmilla gets banned out from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. So perhaps limiting out a bit on those roaming heroes from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. They've already banned out two or three of those roamer picks. So perhaps they are trying to set a target once again on Nano 2.0. But then again, do not forget that nobody is a very good damage dealing player. So he will be licking his fingers if he can get one of his favorite heroes up for grabs.
Exactly, and with that being said, we can see Xavier is getting banned from the side of Sleeping Forest. And as we were talking about nobody's favorite hero, his favorite hero is banned out here. And we can see that the last ban would be coming in from this nobody. So I believe that they would go for a mage ban here as well, because we are not seeing any type of mage being selected from the side of Sleeping Forest yet. So I believe that this should be Valentina, because we have seen them playing Valentina right throughout the whole tournament. So yeah, Valentina would be a nice band, but let's see what nobody has in his mind. He is taking his sweet time, I believe, and along with that, yeah, that was a good ban as well, because Claude was open and the marksman lane was kept open for them, and taking the advantage of that, Sleeping Forest now decided to play nobody's favorite hero, that is the Feramis. So there will be Netherrealm for this Gatkacha, for this Suyu. And I believe that Minsitar wouldn't be missing out any opportunity to use this one.
And indeed, this is a very anticlimactic situation, because as I was talking about nobody licking his fingers for his one of his favorite heroes, Mad wasting no time taking that Faramis, and this just proves a bit more of that sustainability factor, as well as those burst damages that come from that Faramis pick. So it is going to be interesting to see that whether or not can Team Sleeping Forest finish it up with an interesting pick. But right now, what do you think, Asterio? What can be done from the side of Team Sleeping Forest to further improve their composition?
Since they do not have a marksman yet, they have to go for a marksman. And since they have a Novaria on their opponent along with that Valerie, they would have to face a lot of trouble facing these two heroes and to face that off. They are hovering on to Nathan and Moscow. And as far as I remember, we haven't seen a Moscow gameplay throughout this tournament. So this is going to be something unusual if they had picked it, but now they are hovering onto that Granger. And in the previous match as well, we had seen that Granger was looking for an opening to get hold of the players, but somehow he did not get that. But this time, I believe they wouldn't miss a chance and they locked onto the Granger. So if we talk about both the teams have a lot of sustainability on their favor, along with a lot of damage dealing opportunities for them. So which team do you prefer? Has the better uh, lineup? So, as we talk about it, I believe that both the teams have something in their sleeve, and I believe that somehow Baleric might be more potential because the amount of damage he deals and also the amount of damage he can take in is huge, don't you think?
And indeed, it is going to be interesting to see that how they do deal up with this damage. But we'll have to wait and find out to see what does Team Sleeping Forest have in their stores for this lineup brought up by Team Vigani. And yet again, Team Vigani will also be wanting to get up in this game, because it is make or break for them. Don't forget, it is match point for the side of Team Vigani. They will need to win this game in order to progress and take the game to the fifth match of this best of five series. So right now, Asteria, who do you think will be the most influential player in this game?
We cannot predict that yet because it's not the hero you play, it's how you play it, to be honest. And already we can see that Paramis was somehow being annoyance to the players of Team Vigani. And on the other hand, if we look at the overall situation, we can see a rotation is going towards the Ruby, who is solo over there. Faramis used his skills so perfectly and was able to pull out that Ruby for a bit, but somehow she managed to escape because of the flicker she had in store. And yeah, for now she is safe. But if we look at the bottom lane area, Granger is trying his best to get a hold of that carry and trying to clear up his lane properly. And yeah, there was a good initiation coming out from that Balaric as well. And as I talk about Balaric once again, he can deal with a lot of damage. So that might be a troublesome thing for Sleeping Forest. And currently things are looking quite passive, to be honest. So we cannot predict anything yet.
And indeed, it is going to be a test of time for both these teams because the sustainability factor that you were talking about, Asteria, both these teams have that factor in their favor. But it is going to come down to execution of skills and proper team fight initiations that might just make the difference. As we see that it's 10 seconds from the first objective spawning and the upper hand area of the river. And so far, it does look like that Team Sleeping Forest are in a comfortable position to secure this objective, almost getting damage on that Belleric, taking him down to half health. But right now, even in the top lane, we do see that there's heavy traffic for that Ruby, for that damage dealing, as I was talking about from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. But so far, the Novaria manages to escape but does not do anything to change the outcome of the objective going in favor of Sleeping Forest. And we do see that first blood goes to that Minsitar who takes down that Novaria, nobody getting caught. And this is what I was talking about, that Garkacha and Minsitar combination. It has been perfected by Team Sleeping Forest in that second game. And right now, we are seeing shades of that second game yet here again. So does this mean that it will be a similar outcome or will it be a different tale to tell? We'll have to wait and find out.
Exactly, we would have to wait for that. But if we look at the current situation, we can see that both the teams are trying their best to get a hold of their opponent. On the other hand, we can see this Granger is actually trying his level best in this particular round because in the previous round, somehow I wasn't seeing the spark in him. But this time, I can see that he is trying his best. He's going aggressive onto the players. And on the meanwhile, we can see that there is a rotation coming towards the bottom lane area. Another fight might break out in any moment. So we could see that Novaria tried to connect that astral recall to the Suyu or the Pyramis, but somehow that missed. And in the meanwhile, Astral Eco used, Guardian of the Avatar being used, and Guardian did not stand long and he was being taken down along with that Balaric over there. So the kill score is 1 and 2. Till now, we are seeing that from the side of Sleeping Forest, they are trying to get hold of that carry over there. I believe they would be actually focused onto the marksman lane first because whenever you take down that marksman, it would be easier for your team because you have tanky heroes in your team and you wouldn't want that carry to actually build up damage against those heroes. So that's a quite good decision, I would say. And on the other hand, we can see that Ruby is being a menace to that Suyu. He is not in a comfortable position over there, but somehow Gatut was able to take that Hayabusa down. Balaric is being down as well. So it is 2 players down from the side of Team Vigani, which gives them a better opportunity to be more aggressive. And just because before the turtle spawn, 2 of their players were down. 2 of the major players were down, to be honest. So that is not looking quite good for Vigani, if you ask me, for this particular situation.
And indeed, it is never a good time to go down, especially when an objective is spawning in the river. But right now, we do see that yet again, the objective goes in favor of Team Sleeping Forest, who are slowly building up a lead on that goal. But right now, we do see that there is an initiation going on. The After of Guardian being forced out of that. Kacha gets that kill on that Belleric, but gets taken down by Carry in return. And both these teams are really showing aggression. Nobody almost at the cusp of himself, but manages to get away. But perhaps Faram is over initiated, gets punished from the side of Team Vigani, and that is exactly what I'd say. That don't try to chase the rabbit. Perhaps the rabbit is going to trap you instead, and that is the case. Faramis falls victim this time around. He will be careful from the next time, I'm pretty sure. But that is just another example of not trying to overcommit. You have to stick to the basics. You have to remember positioning and keep a good eye on the map to see that if you are in a position of trouble, or if you might even get baited into a position of trouble. But right now, we do see that Belleric yet again very low on health. So I would say that perhaps he needs to change his game plan, not present himself so openly in front of the opposition, because they will deal damage to him. That is what Belleric is supposed to do, sustain damage. But that doesn't mean that he will become a dummy right in the middle and sit ducks. But we did see that perhaps it was a misclick from that Mensitar. He tried to use that King's Calling. But then again, a casualty from the side of Team Vigani. Hayabusa gets taken down, unfortunately. And this does seem that, once again, Team Sleeping Forest are going to get into that initiative of going for that aggression. The Nether Realm comes out, and yet we see that Ruby is very perilously close to the entire team of Team Sleeping Forest. And this is looking very good and in favor of Team Sleeping Forest so far. What do you think, Asteria?
I think that as well. Just because of the Faramis, they could actually retreat back from that situation, because we had seen this Novaria putting on pressure onto the players of Sleeping Forest. Just because of that Nether Realm, they were able to escape the situation, and already we can see that the turtle has spawned, and from the side of Sleeping Forest, they are committing onto the turtle. Whereas we can see that Faramis did set up a quite bad position for Team Vigani, and for that they were being punished, and we can see Big Bird being taken down, and along with that they were able to secure the turtle as well. So if we look at the goal lead, it is almost of 5k, which is proving to be positive on the side of Team Sleeping Forest over there. And if we look at the overall map situation as well, Sleeping Forest has secured 2 of the turrets already, and this is not looking quite good for Team Vigani, even though they started very well. But somehow they are now again going to the back foot of the scenarios they had, and somehow I think that that Farsa would have been a better one instead of this Novaria, don't you think?
I mean, if you're talking about dealing damage from a good range, Farsa is definitely one of those heroes, but so does Novaria if she can manage to get herself into a good position. But right now, none of her long range ballistics is coming into contact. Bit unfortunate for her, but she'll have to maintain patience because, as I said, this is not a 10-minute game until your opposition is making it a 10-minute game. If you give them that opportunity to make it a 10-minute game, it will become a 10-minute game. So you have to be very careful. The Netherlands comes out from the Paramis, and yet again, Garukachi comes in and gets the kill. Suyo gets a kill as well. Midnight comes in and joins the fun. It is looking as an all-out brawl from the side of Team Sleeping Forest. 4 members down for Team Vigani. It is catastrophic. And perhaps that Nether Realm, as I was talking to you, the sustainability element it provides, it just gives enough sustainability to ensure that Team Sleeping Forest can get the better of Team Vigani in that team fight. And right now, they are in a very comfortable position, even in terms of itemizations. If we can go over their items, we will see that they have such a good position for themselves. And it just came from harvesting money, minions after minions, and getting objectives, not missing out on those turtles, focusing on those objectives from the side lanes as well. So this just shows that if you have a good game plan going in your favor, you don't really need to derail much from that. You can just stick on to that, adapt and make changes. As I'm talking about changes, Granger gets the kill of Belleric yet again. Carry manages to take out Fairness, gets the double, and so does Granger. This is a fight of both the marksmen, and indeed we do see that Suyo comes in to join the fray, perhaps locking onto that Hayabusa, who barely manages to escape, and Novaria tries her best to get another hit on those long-range hits, but unfortunately, so far, I'm yet to see a positive commitment from that Novaria. She has been trying to hit circles, but it's just not counting as round hits. So that is something that Team Vigani will need to make sure that it falls into their favor. Otherwise, the team fight composition of Team Sleeping Forest might be enough to take them all the way.
Exactly, because if we look at the overall goal situation as well as the kill situation, Team Sleeping Forest are leading in every factors, and also they have secured all the objectives along with that Lord on their side. I believe that they might just go in for an inhibitor this time, because if I look at the bottom lanes tier two, that is almost in zero HP, almost in a zero HP. So with a knock from that lord, I believe that will be taken down. And if they are able to take down the turret, I believe the players would be focusing on securing kills. And I can already see that they have created a setup for that already, whereas the players aren't faltering in anything, and they are just making sure that they have that safe distance from that Novaria. And even though they did have that, Novaria's astral recall actually uncovered all of their positions. But in the meanwhile, we can see that Granger was able to take down the tier 2 from the mid lane, and now they are going in for the inhibitor from all the sides. So that's how composed they are now. And we can see Ruby was being taken down by this Ranger. Double kill for him is Valerie once again. And as we were just talking about this Ranger, that we haven't seen him shining in the previous round. This time he is not missing any chance to take the spotlight onto him. And also this time Faramis takes down that carry over their master kill secured by that player. Once again, Granger is going menace over the players of Team Vigani, and they are now trying to lock onto the base. And I believe that this
Yeah,
time it's going to be
this
problem
is
for
it.
them. And this is it. Probably this is it. Shutdown secured by that
Oh
Novaria.
no, no
Somehow they are
minions.
still standing. They are still standing on their feet. The minions were in there. Just because the minions were in there, they were able to defend this for now. But they lost two of the inhibitors. And I believe that before the second minion pressure onto their base, they would be reincarnating, and they would be defending for more time now.
I mean, talk about a stroke of luck. It seemed that it was all over, and Team Sleeping Forest perhaps even starting to celebrate a bit, but there were no minions in that base. And Team Vigani lives to tell the tale. And it has been such domination from Team Sleeping Forest in this game. It's really hard to keep track of what's going, even if you're playing at a game of such high caliber. Team Vigani is being bombarded by events left, right, and center. And right now, we do see that Team Sleeping Forest, if we have a look at the itemization from them, we do see that Blade of Despair from that Suyo counting for that high damage output. And not to forget that Sky Piercer and the Blade of Despair for that Ranger as well. It just gives them more and more damage output whenever an enemy is at low life. And it just explains the situation that if you're taking a fight, that is exactly what can happen. And Granger gets the kill of that Novaria. And things are looking very pear-shaped right now for Team Vigani because the Lord was taken down. It will march down sooner or later. But before that, Team Sleeping Forest are already at the doorsteps, knocking on the doors of glory. Can Team Vigani survive yet again? Can they count on their lucky angels to save them out of this one? And again, we see the Ever of Garden comes in, and it is again a team fight coming in favor of Team Sleeping Forest. Granger gets a double, gets a triple, and it might even get a maniac, and he does get a maniac, and it is in favor of Team Sleeping Forest. They're having their sweet time, not taking down that turtle. The minions are away, and perhaps Kensei getting a bit too excited in this situation. They're having their sweet time, and it's a savage from that Granger. The Lord comes in. There is no one to defend it. It is going to be a perfect sweep for the side of Team Sleeping Forest as they take home the crown and are champions in 2025. Team Sleeping Forest, take a bow.
I speechless here, because what just happened? What did just happen? It's something actually I wasn't expecting, and that was so beautifully displayed by all the players. And it's I'm fumbling. I'm astonished. I'm speechless at this point. So congratulations to Team Sleeping Forest for being the champion of this championship 2025. And if we look at the statistics, it is it is going to be the Granger who has played the best, because we can see that he had almost hero damage of 26%, if I'm not wrong, and he secured the MVP. Yes, he got that 26% of hero damage, and he did immense damage to the turrets as well. He was always in the team fights, and we have to give it to that Gata Kacha, because in every narrow situations he was there, ready with his avatar of the Guardian and initiating so beautifully and also executing all the team fights so beautifully along with that Min Sitar, along with that Suyu. And we have to give it to that Paramis as well because he helped his team with the whole with that nether realm in every squishy situation. And totally, if we actually look at the overall situation, it was a very good team composition from them. So congratulations to them. They totally deserved this.
And indeed, it was a display of absolute masterclass from the side of Team SLFO, who were really under the pump in that third game, but they came back so strong in this final game, and they just showed that champion's determination and that mettle that I was talking about. So, and yet again, we have to say that Team Vigani, they did give it their all. They had given Team SLFO a run for their money in the third game. So, a very big round of applause for Team Vigani as well. They have nothing to look back upon. They can hold their heads up high. They gave it their all. But on the day, it was Team SLFO who took down the crown and are going to write their names in the Book of Champions. So, congratulations to Team SLFO.
Exactly. And the scoreboard, let me remind you of the scoreboard. It is 3-1. Sleeping Forest had secured three of the rounds in their favor, and Team Vigani did have a comeback situation in the third round, but that wasn't enough for them. Somehow they got unlucky in this situation, but that's not the end. I believe we would be seeing this Team Vigani more aggressive in the near future. And yeah, both the teams played very well. All the teams played very well, to be honest, throughout the whole tournament because all of them had displayed amazing gameplay throughout the whole tournament. So thanks to all the players for displaying such a gameplay to us, for making all the rounds very, very exciting for us. And I would also like to thank all the sponsors who were along with us in this whole tournament. I would like to thank the management, also the players, and also the viewers for being with us. And I would also want to thank my co-caster for being such an amazing partner throughout the whole tournament.
And indeed, Asteria, it has been such a remarkable tournament. We'll have to give credits to the players and to the audience for sticking to us right until the very end. And this is what it's all about. This is the emotion. This is the game. This is what gaming is. This is Mobile Legends. And it has been such a phenomenal experience. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to each and every one of you for staying up till the very end to us, for staying tuned, and for showing your support to these players, because without you, there is no motivation for us. There is no motivation for them to continue. So from the caster deck, once again, it was me, Gambit, my co-caster, Asteria. We'll be taking our leaves. See you very soon in the near future with another edition of Greatness in Gaming.
Fonuga vibuli hayata netungulila nita kummisaki mezuga e fresh gameuga kudunu speeduga e PUBG gana
Snap kure esa ka meme taka e furi feeduga e TikTok fura e fit check taka ve OG fasha e sali trend ka e ki vajidwa
Puro santa libuni technology libe kuri eruma eko haru fatuga tibe hus baguta bagutung ufala libe huwa fenta fuga veche libe fa
Salima fighti libe Just Salima fighti libe Just Salima fighti libe Just Salima fighti libe
ರಾಜ್ಯಗೆ ಎಮ್ಮೆ ಬೊಡು 5G ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್
Bebe, bebe, क्या हो रखा? Bebe, मी क्या हो रखा?
ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲೊಮ್ಮೆ ಉಂದಗೂ ಕಮೆದ್ದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕಮೆಂಗ್ ಹಿಂಗಾಲಂಬೇಣೊಮಿಯ ಉರಿದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಕುರಿಯರು ಮೆಂಗ್ ಅವಹ ಬೇಣುಂದೋ 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ ಹಯಾತುಗ ಅವಹ ಕುರಿಯರುಂ ಹೋದಾಲಂ ಬೇಣುಮಿಯ ಉರೀದು 5G ಜಸ್ಸಾಲ మడుకురు మీ వర బ్యాక్ అమెద్దో 5G జస్సాల සතේක ගුණ ස්පීඩ් තජරුබා කොල්ලුම උරීදූගේ 5G ජස්සාල
කියා බල කියන්නේ කළු කුරු කුරු කළු කිරුළි කුකුළු කිරුළු කුකුළු ෆාස්ට් කො කියලා කරුකුරු